Next topic is separating the components of a mixture. Handpicking, sieving, filtration are some common methods to separate the constituents of a heterogeneous mixture. In order to understand it, we'll take few activities. In that first activity is how can we obtain colored dye from blue or black ink. Fill half a beaker with water. Put a watch glass on the mouth of the beaker. Put few drops of ink on the watch glass. Now start heating the beaker. You will see that evaporation is taking place from the watch glass. Continue heating as the evaporation goes on and stop heating when you do not see any further change on the watch glass. What do you think has got evaporated from the watch glass? Water. Water gets evaporated from the watch glass. Is there any residue on the watch glass? Yes, there is a residue on the watch glass. What is your observation? Is ink a single substance that is pure or is it a mixture? Ink is a mixture of dyes in water. Next activity is how can we separate cream from milk? Take some full cream milk in a test tube. Centrifuge it by using a centrifuging machine for 2 minutes. If a centrifuging machine is not available in the school, you can do it at your home with the help of milk churner. What do you observe on churning the milk? On churning the milk, lighter particles move upward and some solid particles start settling towards the bottom of the test tube. I repeat, on churning the milk with the help of a churner which is there at home, higher particles move upward and some solid particles start settling towards the bottom of the test tube. Explain how does this separation of cream takes place from milk. Separation of cream from milk takes place by centrifugation due to the difference in the densities of the particles in milk. So what are the applications of the method of centrifugation? Used in diagnostic laboratories for blood and urine tests. Used in dairies and home to separate butter from cream. Used in washing machine to squeeze out water from wet clothes. Next topic is how can we separate a mixture of two immiscible liquids? For this we will take an activity shown in your textbook. Let us try to separate kerosene oil from water using a separating funnel. Pour the mixture of kerosene oil and water in a separating funnel. Let it stand undisturbed for some time so that the separate layers of oil and water are formed. Open the stopcock of the separating funnel and pour out the lower layer of the water carefully. Close the stopcock of the separating funnel as the oil reaches the stopcock. What is the application of this particular thing? To separate the mixture of immiscible liquids. In the extraction of iron from its ore, the lighter slag is removed from the top by this method to leave the molten iron at the bottom in the furnace. The principle is that Immiscible liquids separate out in layers depending on their density. Next topic is how can we separate a mixture of salt, that is common salt, and ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride on heating changes directly from solid to gaseous state, which we had already seen in the first chapter by the process of sublimation. To separate a sublimable component from a mixture containing non-sublimable compound, the sublimation process is used, which we can see in the figure given in your textbook. Some examples of solids with sublime that are ammonium chloride, camphor, naphthalene, and anthracene. Next topic is the dye in the black ink a single color? Take a thin strip of filter paper. Draw a line on it using a pencil, approximately 3 cm above the lower edge. Put a small drop of ink at the center of the line. Let it dry. Lower the filter paper into a jar, glass, beaker, or test tube containing water so that the drop of the ink on the paper is just above the water level and leave it undisturbed. Watch carefully as the water rises up on the filter paper. Record your observation. What do you observe on the filter paper as the water rises on it? As the water rises on the filter paper, the particles of the ink also rises. Do you obtain different colors on the filter paper strip? Different colors are obtained on the filter paper. Ink contains dye mixture of two or more colors. What, according to you, can be the reason for the rise of the colored spot on the paper strip? The rise of the colored spot on the paper strip shows that the colored components of the ink are soluble in water. The more soluble parts rises faster and gets separated from the mixture. Its application: to separate colors in a dye, pigments from natural color, drugs from blood. The process is chromatography. So, what is chromatography? Chromatography is the technique used for the separation of those solutes that dissolve in the same solvent. I repeat, chromatography is the technique used for the separation of those solutes that dissolve in the same solvent. Next topic is how can we separate a mixture of two miscible liquids? Let us try to separate acetone and water from their mixture. Take the mixture in a distillation flask. Fit it with a thermometer as shown in the figure. Heat the mixture slowly, keeping a close watch at the thermometer. The acetone vaporizes, condenses in the condenser, and can be collected from the condenser outlet. Water is left behind in the distillation flask. What do you observe as you start heating the mixture? The mixture appears boiling and the temperature rises. At what temperature does the thermometer reading become constant for some time? The thermometer reading becomes constant at about 56 degrees Celsius. What is the boiling point of acetone? The boiling point of acetone, which is also known as propanol, is 56 degrees Celsius. Why do the components get separated? The two components, acetone and water, separate due to the difference in their boiling points. Next topic is fractional distillation. Fractional distillation process is used to separate two or more miscible liquids for which the difference in boiling point is less than 25 Kelvin. A simple fractionating column in is a tube packed with a glass beads. The beads provide the surface for the vapors to cool and condense repeatedly. Next topic is how can we obtain different gases from air? Air is an homogeneous mixture. The components of air can be separated by fractional distillation process. The fractional distillation is a process of separating the components of a mixture into a series of fractions of different volatiles by the means of distillation. First of all, we study the flow chart. Air, where compressed and cooled by increasing pressure and decreasing temperature, gets converted into liquid air. Allow the warm up slowly in a fractional distillation column. The gases get separated at different heights. In this, you can see the proportion of the gases in air as well as its boiling point. Oxygen in the air is 20.9 degrees 20.9%, whereas its boiling point is minus 183 degrees Celsius. Argon's quantity is 0.9, temperature is minus 186 degrees Celsius. Nitrogen is 78.1 percentage, boiling point is negative 196 degrees Celsius. The components will separate out according to their boiling points. Nitrogen with the lowest boiling point will separate out first, then argon, and last oxygen. So our question is, first of all, arrange the gases present in air in increasing order of their boiling points. So first is nitrogen, that is minus 196 degrees Celsius, then argon minus 186 degrees Celsius, and last, that is oxygen minus 183 degree Celsius. I repeat, first is nitrogen minus 196 degrees Celsius, argon minus 186 degrees Celsius, oxygen minus 183 degree Celsius. Which gas forms the liquid first as the air is cooled? Oxygen gas gets converted into liquid first as the air is cooled. Next topic is how can we obtain pure copper sulfate from an impure sample? So let us take this activity 2.9 from our textbook. Take some approximate 5 gram of impure sample of copper sulfate in a china dish. Dissolve it in minimum amount of water. Filter the impurities out. Evaporate water from the copper sulfate solution so as to get a saturated solution. Cover the solution with a filter paper and leave it undisturbed at room temperature to cool slowly for a day. The queries related to this activity is, what do you observe in the china dish? The crystal of copper sulfate starts forming in the china dish. Do the crystals look alike? Yes, the crystals look alike. Next is, how will you separate the crystals from the liquid in the china dish? To separate the crystals from the liquid in the china dish, use filter paper. The crystals will get spread on the filter paper and the water will be absorbed by filter paper. I repeat, to separate the crystals from the liquid in the china dish, use filter paper. The crystals will get separated, spread on the filter paper, and the water will be absorbed by the filter paper. Application: purification of salt obtained from the sea water. Separation of crystals of some chemical compounds from impure samples. Next topic is water purification system in waterworks. I repeat, water purification system in waterworks. During the process of water purification, the water which comes to the filtration tank has impurities and suspended particles. Filtration tank, which has three layers: a fine sand layer at the top, a coarse sand layer in the middle, and gravel at the top. In this process, the layers of sand and gravel act as filters. When water passes through these layers, even the smallest of the suspended particles are removed. First, water from river or a lake is brought through canals or long pipes to the waterwork, where it is mixed with required quantities of alum and soda lime solutions. The substances react with one another to form aluminium hydroxide, a jelly like solid. It is then pumped into big settling tanks where most of the suspended impurities settle down in 2 or 3 days. The clear water, still containing some suspended matter, is passed through successive filters of boulders, gravel, coarse sand, and fine sand. The clear water from the filters is chlorinated and then passed to the reservoirs for the distribution in the city. We'll just take it one more time. During the process of water purification, water which comes to the filtration tank has impurities and suspended particles. Filtration tank has three layers: fine sand layer at the top, a coarse sand layer in the middle, and gravel at the bottom. In this process, the layers of sand and gravel act as filters. When water passes through these layers, even the smallest of the suspended particles are removed. Water from a river or a lake is brought through canals or long pipes to the waterwork, where it is mixed with required quantities of alum and soda lime solutions. The substances react with one another to form aluminium hydroxide, a jelly like solid. It is then pumped into big settling tanks where most of the suspended impurities settle down in 2 or 3 days. The clear water, still containing some suspended matter, is passed through successive filters of boulders, gravel, coarse sand, and fine sand. The clear water from the filters is chlorinated and then passed to the reservoirs for the distribution in the city. The next topics are physical and chemical changes. Physical change: the change in the state of matter and some physical properties are known as physical change. Ice, water, and water vapor. They display different physical properties, but chemically they are same. The interconversion of state is a physical change. Next is chemical change. Chemical change brings change in the chemical properties of matter. We get a new substance. Example: burning of magnesium ribbon. Here a new substance is formed. The chemical properties of this new substance is quite different than that of those of magnesium ribbon. This is a permanent change. Our next topic is, what are the types of pure substances? The substances are classified either as elements or compounds. So we'll see the first type, that is elements. French scientist Lavoisier attempted to give explanatory definition of element. Element is the basic form of a substance or the basic unit of a substance. It cannot be obtained in other simple substance by its chemical decomposition. As the brick is the basic unit of building, same way element is the basic unit of every substance. The element has its specific properties which do not possess similarity with the properties of other elements. Hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, chlorine, iron, gold, platinum, etc. are elements. Elements are generally classified into three: metals, non-metals, and semi-metals. Semi-metals are also known as metalloids. At present, 114 elements are known, out of which 92 elements are obtained from nature. The remaining elements are artificially prepared by synthesis in the laboratory. Some special information about elements. At present, total number of elements known is 114. 92 elements are available in nature. The remaining are obtained by scientists by synthesis. Most of the elements are in solid state. 11 elements are in gaseous state at room temperature. 2 elements are in liquid state at room temperature. Mercury, bromine. Gallium and cesium can turn into liquid at temperatures slightly higher than that of the room temperatures. The physical properties of metals and non-metals are as follows. Metals have lustrous surface, whereas non-metals do not have lustrous surface. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Non-metals are not good conductor of heat and electricity. Metals are ductile and malleable, whereas non-metals are non-ductile, neither malleable. Metals produce a ringing sound, whereas non-metals do not produce a ringing sound. Next topic is compounds. A compound is a substance formed by the chemical combination of two or more elements in a fixed proportion. So, what is a compound? A compound is a substance formed by the chemical combination of two or more elements in a fixed proportion. So, we'll just take an activity to understand it. Divide the class into two groups. Give 5 gram of iron fillings and 3 gram of sulfur powder in a china dish to both the groups. Group 1, mix and crush iron fillings and sulfur powder. Group 2, mix, crush iron fillings and sulfur powder. Heat this mixture strongly till red hot. Remove from the flame and let the mixture cool. Groups 1 and 2. Check for magnetism in the material obtained. Bring a magnet near the material and check if the material is attracted towards the magnet. Compare the texture and color of the material obtained by the groups. Add carbon disulfide to one part of the material obtained. Stir well and filter. Then add dilute sulfuric acid or dilute hydrochloric acid to the other part of the material obtained. Take care that this activity is to be done with the help of your teacher. Perform all the above steps with both the elements, that is iron and sulfur, separately. What are your conclusions? Did the material obtained by the two groups look the same? The answer is the materials obtained by the two groups look different. Which group has obtained a material with magnetic properties? Group 1 obtained a material with magnetic properties. Can we separate the components of the material obtained? The component of the material obtained in the case of group 1 can be separated using a magnet, but not in the case of group 2. Next, on adding dilute sulfuric acid or dilute hydrochloric acid, did both the groups obtain a gas? Did the gas in both the cases smell the same or different? Both the groups obtained a gas. The smell of the gas in both the cases is different. The gas obtained in case of group 1 is colorless and odorless. It is the hydrogen gas. The gas obtained in the case of group 2 is colorless with the smell of rotten eggs. It is hydrogen sulfide gas. Next is the differentiation between mixture and compounds. Elements or compounds just mix together to form a mixture and no new compound is formed. Whereas compound elements react to form new compounds. Mixture. A mixture has a variable composition. Compounds. The composition of each new substance is always fixed. Mixture. A mixture shows the properties of the constituent substances. Compounds. The new substance has totally different properties. Mixtures. The constituents can be separated fairly easily by physical methods. Compounds. The constituents can be separated only by chemical or electrochemical reactions.